Shalom uvracha. I want to tell you an unbelievable story, which I heard from Barak Holman, and it happened in 2013 in the city of Bat Yam. Now in Bat Yam, every Friday night, there was a rabbi named Rav Yisrael Nisim Lugasi. And Yisrael Nisim Lugasi had a gift. He knew how to connect to the young people's hearts. And every Friday night, he would share words of Torah. And there would be more than 100 people, dozens of Jews, young people, some of them religious, some of them not, thirsty for growth, thirsty to connect to Hashem. It's actually amazing. I witnessed something similar in the army. We had a man who used to offer the Chayalim to come in Magav, and there would be dozens of men and women every Friday night who would share Divrei Torah. So it must be part of the culture. And this is what he would do. Now, in this city, there's also a man named Rav Tovi Vahava. Rav Tovi Vahava was a Chabadnik, is a Chabadnik Rav. And whenever he would come to, he'd like to come and visit and see what the good rabbi was doing at his shiur. And whenever he would come, Rav Lugasi would honor Rav Tovi Vahava to share some words of Torah, to honor him, and to honor the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who he was an emissary of, he was a shliach of. And in fact, his Rebbe, Rav Lugasi's Rebbe, was a Baba Sali, and the Baba Sali and the Lubavitcher Rebbe were very, very close. So in order to honor them, they would he would always ask him to share some words of Torah. So in any case, this Friday night, Rav Vahava was having a big meal with his whole family, and it was a long meal, and it was already 10 o'clock at night. And so the Rav says, you know what, tonight I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to take a nap on the couch. And he went to sleep. He decided he wasn't going to go to the shiur this week. And suddenly he wakes up and he felt like someone was tugging him. But he tried to ignore it because he was tired, but he eventually gets up and he opens up his eyes. And who does he see there? The Lubavitcher Rebbe. He sees a vision of Lubavitcher Rebbe waking him up. And he's shocked because, of course, Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away in 1994, and this was 2013. But the Rebbe says to him, go to the shiur of Rav Lugasi. And then he disappears. And so, of course, Rav Vahava is quite shaken. He looks at his family who are still eating at their meal. He says, okay, no time to mess around. I'll explain to you guys later. Gets himself ready and starts walking to the shiur. And what does he see? The kids are all waiting outside. And he asks, what's going on? Why aren't you listening to the shiur? He says, the Rav didn't show up this week. We don't know where Rav Lugasi is. So he waits a few minutes, trying to figure out what's going on. And someone comes up to him and says, Rav, sometimes you share words of Torah. Maybe you can teach this week. So he didn't really have anything prepared. But he said, okay, b'makom she'ein ish, in a place where there's no men. And so he decides he'll talk. And the words just flowed. And he talked about the Lubavitcher Rebbe's approach to Lag BaOmer and the custom to have parades and Chabad custom and giving Jews Jewish pride. And the words flowed. And that was that. Now, after Shabbos, he reached out to Rav Lugasi and he told him this wild story. Rav Lugasi called up. He explained that he had actually arranged for someone to switch him as the shiur giver that week. He was away for Shabbos. He called up the man, and the man said, I had stomach cramps. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to go and give the shiur. I'm so sorry that there wasn't Torah. And Rav Lugasi said, no, there was Torah, thanks to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. In fact, he called his Kabbalistic rabbi, Rav Rafael Abu Chatzera, who was a descendant of the Baba Sali, and he explained that in the heavens there was a whole tumult. He saw this in the heavens. There was a whole tumult over why there was no one who was going to teach all these kids Torah. Until they said the Lubavitcher Rebbe has the permission to go down to the world to make sure that someone will teach these kids Torah. And so, Gewalt. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, no matter what, Lag BaOmer on Shabbos, he never rested. Alive in the heavens, doesn't matter. He was a humble shepherd, making sure that his students, his people, the Jewish people, are always connected to their Father in the heavens. Hope you enjoyed this wild and wonderful true story that happened in Bat Yam just a couple of years ago. Have a wonderful day.